From Millefleur, Queen's Park West, the Environmental Management Authority presents the 2020 Greenleaf Awards ceremony.
Good evening and welcome to the Environmental Management Authority's 2020 Greenleaf Awards. My name is Natasha Jones. It's such an honor to be here. The Greenleaf Awards continue to be the only award dedicated solely to the honor of our environmental heroes. Since its inception, the GLA has recognized the invaluable work of countless individuals, civil society groups, institutions, schools, and private sector entities, all of whom have made indelible contributions to shaping the environmental landscape of Trinidad and Tobago. To formally welcome us all and to share more on the Greenleaf Awards, please welcome the Managing Director of the EMA, Hayden Romano.
The Honorable Camille Robinson Regis, Minister of Planning and Development, the Chairman, Mrs. Nadra Natai Gyan, and Directors of the Board of Environmental Management Authority, nominees and awardees of the Greenleaf Awards 2020, the panel of adjudicators for the Greenleaf Awards 2020, management and staff of the EMA, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the EMA's 2020 Greenleaf Awards ceremony. On World Environment Day, June 5th, 2020, the EMA marked an important milestone, our 25th anniversary. And what an anniversary year it has been and continues to be. When we started our anniversary planning, we determined that the Greenleaf Awards would be one of the signature events in our 25th year as stewards of Trinidad and Tobago's natural resources and environment. Notwithstanding the COVID-19 pandemic and the limitations that came with its spread, the EMA persevered with its Greenleaf Awards plan. We invited nominations over an extended period and conducted every stage of the awards process, mindful of the public health regulations and ensuring the safety of all concerned. Permit me to express the EMA's appreciation to our adjudication panel for their time and their expertise. Thank you all. In addition to the presentation of Greenleaf Awards, Merit Awards, and Special Awards, I am extremely pleased to share that we shall also acknowledge 25 individuals for their dedicated service to the environmental stewardship in Trinidad and Tobago. I therefore invite you to spend quality time with the EMA as we celebrate the dedication of many who have demonstrated a deep commitment to promoting projects and activities that have been in service to the conservation and preservation of our natural environment, and as we celebrate 25 years of national service. Welcome and enjoy the program.
Thank you, Mr. Romano. For the 2020 Greenleaf Awards, judging in 10 categories was conducted by a multi-stakeholder GLA steering committee. And for the first time in the history of the GLA, it was conducted virtually, taking the COVID-19 restrictions into consideration. Following 2 rounds of judging, 8 finalists were selected, 4 receiving Merit Awards and 4 receiving the Greenleaf Awards. We begin with the Merit Award. The Merit Award is presented to those projects that are deemed as worthwhile ventures, deserving special recognition for their contribution to environmental management and sustainable development in Trinidad and Tobago. Our first recipient of the Merit Award is the Cashew Gardens Community Council.
We, the Cashew Gardens Recycling Program, has been involved in this project for the last 5 years. Young adopters who conduct water quality testing at the Kapara River were appalled at the volume of solid waste that was observed in the river whenever they visited to draw water samples. This waste varied from household appliances to plastic bottles, the latter being in large volumes. This led them to embark on a community-based recycling program. Our goals are education and awareness, to reduce water hazards and risk, to pursue sustainability, to create solutions such as the goal will be to significantly reduce solid waste pollution in Trinidad and Tobago, to take responsibility by minimizing our carbon footprint and protecting the planet. We intend to impact the environment by significantly reducing solid waste pollution, reduce flooding, and improve the quality of the water in the Kapara River. Also, social impacts are to change the culture of solid waste disposal and increase the youth involvement and mentorship. Going forward, the Cashew Gardens Community Recycling Program will create a sustainable project that will explore the opportunity to generate income from collection and upcycling options.
Receiving the Merit Award on behalf of the Cashew Gardens Community Council is Rosalind Williams-George.
Congratulations to the Cashew Gardens Community Council. The second Merit Award is presented to Nanan Karani Bird Sanctuary Tours.
I've been involved in this family affair, this family project, about 30 years plus, and I decided to leave electrical engineering to join my family in this conservation and preservation work that they started. This project started way in the early 30s by my grandfather. When his passion for the birds, he decided to have a petition going to save them, and because of his petition, this area became a national park. And by learning about the history of my grandfather and all what my father did, I decided to join the bandwagon and help out, because the passion the family have for the skull tigers and the environment is one of the major aspects of me joining them. And my goals are to make sure this area become an environmentally sensitive area where all bird species that come to Karani Swamp would be protected. The project positively impacted the environment with the amount of awareness that was put out to the public. And once they get this information of how important it is to conserve and preserve our wildlife and our national treasure. Our plans for the future of the swamp is to always make sure and continue to advocate for the wildlife in here. Every species that enter Trinidad Karani Bird Sanctuary, it would be protected. Any species that colonize in here would be invited. So what we just seen there at the Karani Swamp, just ask yourself this question: if it wasn't for Simon Udit Nanan, my grandfather, and my father, Winston Nanan, if it wasn't for their hard work and dedication and 2 lifetimes of conservation, it wouldn't have the Karani Bird Sanctuary today.
Receiving the Merit Award on behalf of Nanan Karani Bird Sanctuary Tours is Alistair Nanan.
Congratulations to the Nanan Karani Bird Sanctuary Tours. Here now is our third recipient of a Merit Award, the Cropper Foundation.
The project CSOs for Good Environmental Governance was launched in January 2018 and came to an end in December 2020. This project, that was funded by the European Union, was managed by the Cropper Foundation along with our partners Environment Tobago, Fishermen and Friends of the Sea, the OWTU, and the Network of Rural Women Producers of TNT. So this project, which was 3 years long, really sought to understand how we can mainstream the transparency and accountability of the extractive sector to and by civil society. So to do this, we worked with the TTITI to understand how their national process of reporting on the extractive sector could better incorporate environmental reporting. And on the other side of things, we worked with over 25 community groups to help them understand how to navigate the environmental framework within the country to better advocate for the interests of their community. So after 3 years, we're now able to launch an environmental pilot with the TTITI, where companies report on their environmental impact. And we've launched the Caribou Environmental News Network, which is going to be the first ever platform for communities to respond to environmental issues going on in their communities using their own voices through citizen journalism. So we're hoping that this project, CSOs for Good Environmental Governance, now lives on in a multitude of different ways. At the TTITI, which is at the policy level, and on the ground, through enabling community journalists to tell their own stories in this Caribou Environmental News Network.
Receiving the Merit Award on behalf of the Cropper Foundation is Roberta Clark.
Congratulations to the Cropper Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, our final Merit Award is presented to Restore a Sense of I Can.
Well, I've been involved with this project for about 8 years. Rajan Sugan, the other directors, a lot longer than that. But in about 2012, we started because we were looking at ways we can help students using technology and education. So we asked the corporate world and we got used ICT equipment and used furniture, but these things had to be refurbished. So in refurbishing it, we realized that part of our mission, which was infusing education and technology, was being fulfilled now, and it was driving being able to get the hardware so that the children could actually get the training. And that started to drive the environmental part of it. So now we saw the linkages with those things. Well, the thing is, we still are a company that's focused on education and technology, but we started to realize the reuse. First of all, some of the main goals arising out of this would have been to develop a culture of reuse and education on what we can do with solid waste and specifically with e-waste. So really educating, reuse, and proper, and I would say responsible disposal of your used ICT equipment. In terms of sustainability, because of the education part of it, this used equipment is used by community centers, by schools, we use it in technology camps. But going forward, the thing is, we realize the more we have programs and we've seen communities developing, and it really is being developed with our technology clubs in school. So the technology clubs in schools, and we have lots of them, over about 50 clubs, they have their own projects and they need hardware for it, and this is driving it. We see it expanding to Tobago, we see it expanding to the Caribbean because of our association with the education system in the Caribbean. So definitely at a time like now, especially where people, IT equipment and hardware and of course accessibility to the internet are constraints that people facing that they never faced before. So we definitely see it expanding in that way.
Receiving the Merit Award on behalf of Restore a Sense of I Can is Randall Sinanan.
Congratulations to our 4 Merit awardees. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to invite the chairman of the Environmental Management Authority to deliver remarks at this special event. Please welcome to address you, Mrs. Nadra Natai Gian.
The Honorable Camille Robinson Regis, Minister of Planning and Development, the Deputy Chair and fellow directors of the Board of the Environmental Management Authority, the Managing Director of the EMA, Hayden Romano, nominees and awardees of the Greenleaf Awards 2020, the panel of adjudicators for the Greenleaf Awards 2020, management and staff of the EMA, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the EMA, I am delighted to welcome the Minister of Planning and Development to participate in this evening's Greenleaf Awards ceremony. I am equally delighted on the occasion of the EMA's 25th anniversary to witness the recognition of those who have made significant and positive contributions to the environment for the previous 2 years or more, or succeeded in highlighting significant environmental issues to the wider public, community, or those who have taken national or international actions towards notable environmental concerns. Historically, this award ceremony would be held on World Environment Day, June 5th, to coincide with the anniversary of the establishment of the EMA. However, we are living in interesting times. At the first Greenleaf Awards ceremony held in 1998, 15 awardees were celebrated at the first of our magnificent 7 landmarks, Killarney, or Stallmeyer's Castle as it is commonly known, under the theme For Life on Earth, Save Our Seas. Today, we are at the recently restored Millefleur, another of our magnificent 7, but having to observe all COVID-19 protocols. Since its inception, the EMA's Greenleaf Awards have recognized the invaluable work of countless individuals, civil society groups, institutions, schools, and private sector entities, all of whom have made indelible contributions to shaping the environmental landscape of Trinidad and Tobago. Oftentimes, this prestigious award has served as a platform to deservedly promote the work of environmental advocates and pioneers who may have otherwise gone unnoticed. Their projects have spanned the length and breadth of our twin islands, addressing pressing environmental issues through research, innovation, conservation, education, and advocacy. But why an awards ceremony for environmentalists? Why bring so much focus to the environment? Trinidad and Tobago, like so many other countries, continues to grapple with the challenges of ensuring that social and economic progress is undertaken in an environmentally sustainable manner. The country faces major environmental issues, which include, inter alia, pollution of surface ground and coastal waters, deforestation, soil erosion and flooding, climate change, degradation of ecosystems and loss of biodiversity, unplanned developments, air pollution, and noise pollution. The Board of Directors of the EMA, which has been appointed for an unprecedented third term, acknowledges that the EMA has progressed into a mature organization. Further, the board acknowledges that the EMA has made great strides as a regulator and in raising awareness of critical environmental issues such as water and noise pollution, and establishing environmental permitting processes as mandated under the Environmental Management Act. Now more than ever comes a strategically deeper task. The EMA must continue to lead environmental management and practice in Trinidad and Tobago and address current and emerging environmental issues. At this time, work has already begun on the development of the EMA's Strategic Plan 2022 to 2026. The EMA's annual report for 2020, which includes an assessment of the state of the environment, is completed and will be presented to the Minister of Planning and Development this month in accordance with the requirements of the EMA Act. Consequently, the EMA must continue to ensure that its strategic objectives, plans and programs for the years ahead are aligned to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the National Development Strategy Vision 2030 and the National Environmental Policy for Trinidad and Tobago. In recent times, the EMA gave focus to strengthening the policy framework through the facilitation of the revision of the National Environmental Policy. In the area of environmental studies, the EMA undertook the conduct of a baseline ecological survey in the Gulf of Paria. The protection of environmentally sensitive species has been advanced through the designation of the scarlet ibis and the work of the National Sea Turtle Task Force. And noteworthy, the public continues to respond to the call to recycle via the Recyclable Solid Waste Collection Program under the ICARE project. Of import, and keeping pace with technology, the EMA has embarked upon an exercise to fully digitize the documents contained in all 4 of its national registers by 31st March 2022, thereby improving the ease of public access to the national registers for certificates of environmental clearance, noise variations, source emitters, and water polluters. In closing, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the EMA, permit me once again to thank Minister Robinson-Regis for being with us this evening and for delivering our feature address. Congratulations to all of our awardees, those receiving the Greenleaf Awards 2020, as well as those awardees in our special categories recognized on the occasion of the EMA's 25th anniversary. I thank you.
Presenting the EMA's chairpersons. 1995 to 1996, Sir Ellis Clarke. 1997 to 1999, Professor John Agard. 2000 to 2001, Dr. Vincent Moe. 2001 to 2002, Professor Diana Reinsing. 2002 to 2008, Professor John Agard. 2009 to 2010, Mr. Robert Green. 2010 to 2011, Professor Julian Kenny. 2011 to 2012, Mr. Kelvin Remnath. 2013 to 2015, Dr. Alan Bachan. 2016 to today, Mrs. Nadra Nathaigian. Presenting the EMA's Managing Directors. 1995, Dr. Shafiq Sultan Khan. 1995 to 1996, Mr. Patrice Leblanc. 1997 to 2008, Dr. Dave McIntosh. 2008 to 2013, Dr. Joth Singh. 2014 to 2016, Acting, Mrs. Gayatri Badri Maharaj. 2017 to today, Mr. Hayden Romano.
Ladies and gentlemen, in celebration of the 25th anniversary of the EMA, 25 persons are being recognized for their dedicated service to environmental stewardship in Trinidad and Tobago. Here now are the EMA's 25th anniversary list of environmental achievers.
We begin with Akila Jaramogi. Akila Jaramogi is the founder and managing director of the Fonzamans Community Reforestation Project and an advocate for sustainable development. The project was established in 1982 by Akila and her late husband to fight bushfires, plant forest and fruit trees, as well as gather seeds and other natural materials for use in craft. Al Ramsawak. Al Ramsawak has written over 300 children's stories, including the Monkey Polo series. He is an artist, folklorist, and recipient of several awards, including the National Hummingbird Silver Medal for Folklore Culture. Peter Barry Rampersad is the president of the community-based organization Protectors of the Environment, which he and his family founded in 1990. His work involves watershed management through tree planting exercises, forest fire patrol, detection and suppression, as well as public awareness for residents in the Lopino Valley and schools along the east-west corridor. Dr. Carol James began her career as a zoologist and was appointed head of the Wildlife Section Forestry Division in 1984. She was instrumental in transforming the marine turtle slaughtering on the beaches of Trinidad and Tobago into sustainable, community-based ecotourism and scientific research. In 1992, Dr. James was appointed by the UNDP as the world's first senior sustainable development advisor. She was president of the Azurite Nature Center, chairman of the Guardian Life Wildlife Fund, and served on several boards. Christo Adonis is the shaman of the Arima First Peoples community and performs the sacred smoke ceremonies. He organizes educational walks to teach about the medicinal plants and the spirituality of Trinidad's Caribs. He is regarded as a man of authority, a leader, and a chief. Dennis Sammy spent many years working with nature seekers before becoming the managing director. Dennis Sammy was responsible for program development and community collaboration. He continues to promote sustainable natural resources management through tourism and other social enterprises while empowering local action. Dr. Floyd Homer is a natural resources specialist and head of the Trust for Sustainable Livelihoods. Dr. Homer has worked for more than 28 years, coordinating and implementing projects in the Caribbean and Latin America, which involved resource and land use issues related to forests, wetlands, and coral reefs. Dr. Homer has contributed to strengthening the capacities of government agencies and NGOs in 18 countries in the Caribbean to manage their natural resources. Heather Dawn Herrera is an explorer, writer, film producer, and environmentalist. She has spent over 40 years promoting and educating on Trinidad and Tobago's natural environment. Ms. Herrera produced the video documentary Eco-Locations of Trinidad and Tobago, which provides information on local flora, fauna, ecosystems and ecotourism. Ian Lambie volunteered as secretary to the Trinidad and Tobago Field Naturalists Club. In 1976, he was elected to the Board of Management of the Azorite Nature Center and was appointed president in 1977. Ian Lambie transformed the center into a popular destination for environmentalists and birdwatchers, and it became one of the first eco-lodges in the world. In 1998, Ian Lambie left the board for the newly established post of President-CEO and continued in that capacity until his retirement in 2001. Jalaluddin Khan has been involved for more than 25 years in ecotourism. He also specializes in green planning and sustainable development and has worked on a number of projects locally and regionally for the public and private sectors, as well as civil society organizations. Jalaluddin Khan has served on state boards and government-appointed committees and is a recipient of an EMA Greenleaf Award in the year 2000. Carolyn Shepherd has been vice president of the Pointe-a-Pierre Wildfowl Trust, which she joined in the early 1980s. As a member of wider Caribbean Sea Turtle Network Widecast, she designed and co-authored Trinidad and Tobago's first sea turtle recovery plan, conducting weekly patrols at Matura Beach for research and tagging. Ms. Shepherd coordinated the visit of the Greenpeace sailing vessel Rainbow Warrior to Trinidad and Tobago to protest nuclear shipments through the Caribbean. Carolyn Shepherd co-manages the successful breeding and release programs for Trinidad and Tobago's 5 species of endangered waterfowl. Len Peters is the chairman of the community-driven Grand Riviere Nature Tour Guide Association, which he founded in 1990. He has been engaged in educational work in turtle conservation for over 30 years. He received the first ever Commonwealth Points of Light Award in 2018 in recognition of his work. And in 2020, he held a virtual audience with Queen Elizabeth II and received his second Commonwealth Points of Light Award in recognition for the difference he has made in his community. Mohan Bola Singh formed the Southeastern Hunters Association in 1993. The objectives of the association are to represent the hunting fraternity, identify hunting as the harvesting of a natural resource, and create awareness to preserve wildlife habitat. Under the leadership of Mr. Bola Singh, the Southeastern Hunters Association hosts an annual conference and exhibition to educate stakeholders and the general public on ecosystems management, forest conservation, environmentally sensitive areas, and species. Molly Gaskin is an environmental activist known for her achievements in the field of natural resource management, public awareness, and environmental education. As a wildlife photographer, Ms. Gaskin held 2 exhibitions in 1982 and 1985. She co-authored and designed Trinidad and Tobago's first sea turtle recovery plan and published many educational books. In 1994, Molly Gaskin was enrolled in UNEP's Global 500 Roll of Honor and was recognized in 1997 as one of 25 exceptional women leaders from around the world for outstanding effort and dedication to the environment. Narayan Gupti Lakshmidiyal has been the president of the Zoological Society of Trinidad and Tobago since 2002. He is the founder and immediate past president of the Manatee Conservation Trust. In 2000 and 2001, Mr. Lakshmidiyal received the Hummingbird Medal Silver for conservation on behalf of the Manatee Conservation Trust. For his personal contribution to the conservation of wildlife and the environment, he was awarded the Hummingbird Medal Silver in 2002, and in 2009, he was awarded the Hummingbird Medal Gold for his community service. Mr. Lakshmidiyal serves as the regional representative for the International Fund for Animal Welfare and the president of the Caribbean Animal Welfare Association. Patricia McGaw is a tireless advocate for sound environmental management in Trinidad and Tobago. She is a founding member of the Friends of Botanic Gardens of Trinidad and Tobago and the Maracas Valley Action Committee. Patricia McGaw has also been a member of the Council of Presidents of the Environment for over 15 years. She is currently the secretary of all 3 NGOs. Sham Shortman Ramsubaj is a game warden in Nuriva who believes that his work is to protect the natural habitat from poaching, especially the manatee, an environmentally sensitive species. Mr. Ramsubaj was once a poacher, but when he became aware of the dangers of overhunting, he decided to devote his efforts to converting other members of the community who now have a greater appreciation for conserving and spreading awareness on the natural resources in their area through ecotourism. Sherwin Ruiz founded GREAT, the Grand Riviere Environmental Awareness Trust, in 1991. This community-based organization focused on turtle conservation. In 1995, he launched the Net for Turtle project with fishermen to curb the slaughter of turtles on the beaches from Grand Riviere to Matlot. Whenever turtles were caught in the nets, the fishermen would cut their gill nets and release the turtles and would then be compensated with new nets. The project was funded by the UNDP GEF SGP. Stephen Broadbridge is a professional wildlife photographer and pioneer of eco-tours in Trinidad and Tobago. Through his company, Caribbean Discovery Tours Limited, Stephen Broadbridge offers expertly guided tours throughout the country. Mr. Broadbridge also caters for specialized interests such as eco-research projects, university study tours, bird watching, and photographic and filming ventures. He co-produced the award-winning wildlife documentary Wild TNT and assisted the BBC with filming of Wild Caribbean. Suraj Narayan Buck Hanuman has spent decades protecting the Nariva swamp area from bushfires and poaching. He played a key role as a community leader during the National Restoration Carbon Sequestration Wildlife and Livelihoods Project. He brought members of the surrounding communities of Bish, Cascadoo, Charuma, Kokal, Kernahan, Plumita and Plum Road together to be trained in planting, tending, firefighting, land preparation, survey techniques, nursery maintenance and first aid. Dr. Yasmin Bach Como is the former curator of the National Herbarium of Trinidad and Tobago. Dr. Bach Como was appointed curator in 1980, and she fostered a lifelong passion for living trees and the comforts they provide. She established a museum of tree relics, an archival collection of plant specimens, which provide the comparative material for many disciplines, including taxonomy, ecology, anatomy, conservation biology, and biodiversity. Alyosha Vodke is the executive director and co-founder of the Environmental Research Institute Charlottesville. Drawing on his technical expertise, Mr. Vodke has mentored rural CSOs, worked with government institutions in areas such as protected area management and responsible tourism, and facilitated advocacy and networking. He has also been project lead in award-winning interventions related to climate change adaptation and CSO governance. Carlisle Macmillan has been dedicating his services in the environmental field since 1993. As president of the Trinidad and Tobago Orchid Society, his interest in and knowledge of the flora of Trinidad and Tobago, and in particular the native orchid species, has assisted in the compilation of a database of native orchid species and the execution of projects on the protection of endangered orchid species and their habitats. Over the years, he has conducted extensive research in both Trinidad and Tobago. Kamau Akili is a sustainable development consultant and is committed to environmental integrity and sustainable tourism in Tobago. He has championed the sustainable development of Tobago in various capacities, including his roles of secondary school teacher and education administrator, talk show host at Radio Tambourine, Executive Director of Environment Tobago, Sustainable Development Coordinator in the Tobago House of Assembly, and Director of the Pigeon Point Heritage Park Limited. Mr. Akili received a Greenleaf Award in 2001. Tanya Clovis is President and founding member of Save Our Sea Turtles, SOS Tobago, which was established in 2000. This community-based organization was established with support from Environment Tobago and Widecast. Since the formation of the group, she's been working tirelessly on Turtle Beach, Grafton and Black Bays for the duration of each annual turtle nesting season. Unlike Trinidad, Tobago's nesting beaches are not protected, and her work has been voluntary for the past 20 years.
We congratulate each environmental achiever for their dedicated service. Well done! And now, ladies and gentlemen, to deliver the feature address at the EMA's 2020 Greenleaf Awards ceremony, please welcome Minister of Planning and Development, the Honorable Camille Robinson-Regis.
Mrs. Nadra Nathai Gian, Chairman, Environmental Management Authority and Directors of the Board of the EMA, Mr. Hayden Romano, Managing Director, nominees and awardees of the Greenleaf Awards 2020, the panel of adjudicators for the Greenleaf Awards 2020, management and staff of the EMA, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to join you this evening to witness and participate in this double celebration, the presentation of the EMA's Greenleaf 2020 Awards and the commemoration of the EMA's 25th anniversary. It is fitting that this occasion occurs today, April 22nd, as we join other organizations and nations across the globe in observance of Earth Day under the theme, Restore Our Earth. Though 25 years in the history of an institution is still relatively young, it is indeed a milestone worthy of commemoration, for it has brought with it years of learning and wisdom, years of growth and significant contribution to the national environmental landscape. And so, I wish to congratulate not only the current chairman, board of directors, management and staff, but also the many others upon whose shoulders we stand today, and upon whose legacy you have continued to build. The creation and establishment of the EMA was a direct attempt to bring order, not just to the daily management of the local environment, but also to the approximately 40 pieces of legislation addressing various aspects of environmental management and some 28 government agencies involved in implementing the associated functions and activities. This haphazard approach, which survived successive administrations, resulted in a lack of institutional and legal focus, and by extension, the continued degradation of the country's natural resources. The Environmental Management Act 1995 was therefore an umbrella piece of legislation incorporating important environmental policy statements of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, a blueprint for the further development of environmental policy and legislation, and a monitoring and enforcement mechanism. Having served as the line minister with responsibility for the EMA since 2015, I have noted the progressive collaboration between the EMA and several of the Ministry of Planning and Development's divisions, such as the Environmental Policy and Planning Division, the Green Fund Executing Unit, and the Town and Country Planning Division. Moreover, as one of the 3 statutory authorities with a reporting line to the Ministry of Planning and Development, I have recognized quite happily the existence of an integrated approach to the management of the environment amongst the EMA, the Institute of Marine Affairs, and the Chaguaramas Development Authority. And I am more than elated today to see the partnership between the EMA and the National Trust, resulting in the hosting of this awards ceremony at the recently restored Mille Fleurs Heritage Site. These collaborations are reflective of more than a coming together of agencies that share a common parent ministry. They are indicative of the integrative nature of environmental management as a task to be shared by everyone, resulting in untold benefits to the wider national community. With 25 years under its belt, the EMA has delivered critical tools to protect the environment. I refer to the following: the designation of environmentally sensitive species and environmentally sensitive areas, ambient air quality monitoring and the Air Pollution Rules 2014, the amended Water Pollution Rules 2019, and the Water Pollution Fees Regulations 2019. The National Environmental Policy, which has been laid in the Parliament, the National Restoration, Carbon Sequestration, Wildlife and Livelihoods Project, and the People's Choice Award Recyclable Solid Waste Collection Program, which is more familiarly known as the iCare project. The EMA also continues to be at the forefront of public education on the environment through ongoing engagement with primary, secondary, and tertiary level students. The work of the Emergency Response and Investigations Unit has been similarly supportive in conducting prompt investigations into incidents that have the potential to negatively impact the environment. Through the assistance of the ERI, steps have been established to minimize or prevent environmental incidents from recurring. Ladies and gentlemen, the work of the EMA is not done in isolation, but rather forms part of a wider national approach to the achievement of sustainable development. In 2015, Trinidad and Tobago adopted the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which identifies 17 goals and 169 targets for which, and I quote, countries will mobilize efforts to end all forms of poverty, fight inequalities, and tackle climate change, while ensuring that no one is left behind, end of quote. Goal number 5 of this UN 2030 agenda recognizes that, and I quote again, environmental health is critical to the development of the country and ultimately the well-being of the citizenry, end of quote. An equally important partner to the UN agenda is Trinidad and Tobago's own National Development Strategy, more familiarly known as Vision 2030, which is the government's overarching policy framework for sustained development in Trinidad and Tobago. The government has signaled its own intent to chart a course of sustainable development by identifying one of the 5 pillars of its development strategy as, and I quote, placing the environment at the center of social and economic development, end of quote. Most recently, the National Environmental Policy figured prominently in the meeting convened by the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee to examine the implementation of the 2021 budget, with emphasis on the green economy, at which both the Ministry of Planning and Development and the EMA participated. Today, as we commemorate this 25th anniversary of the establishment of the EMA, we recommit ourselves to the creation of a sustainable green economy that seeks to provide prosperity for all within the ecological limits of our planet. This green economy follows 5 key principles, each of which draws on important precedents in international policy and which, when taken together, can provide a thorough guide to economic reform in diverse contexts. These 5 principles: 1, the well-being principle, which says that a green economy should enable all people to create and enjoy prosperity. 2, the justice principle, which says that a green economy should promote equity within and between generations. 3, the planetary boundaries principle, which says that a green economy safeguards, restores, and invests in nature. 4, the efficiency and sufficiency principle, which says that a green economy must be geared to support sustainable consumption and production. And 5, the good governance principle, which says that a green economy must be guided by integrated, accountable, and resilient institutions. These are the foundation stones upon which the national environmental policy rests, and therefore form the basis upon which all matters relating to the environment will henceforth be evaluated. One of the most consistent features of the EMA's stewardship over the last 25 years has been its efforts to recognize individuals and organizations who have demonstrated not only an interest in environmental protection, but those who have gone way above and beyond the call of duty to ensure that our environment is preserved, protected, and propagated so as to ensure sustainable continuity. Our social media feeds have displayed many examples of environmental healing across the globe, evidenced by the restoration of vegetation, rivers, and streams. At the start of the sea turtle nesting season, the government of Trinidad and Tobago gave consideration to sea turtle conservationists in their request to gather important data in 2021 and to facilitate patrols at night time in order to mitigate the poaching of sea turtles, a designated environmentally sensitive species. Even as new restrictions were imposed recently, the government, guided by the science, still allowed our turtle conservationists the latitude to continue their work unabated, demonstrating very tangibly in the process our understanding of the importance of this venture. Even as we did so, though, we shared the concern of our CARICOM neighbors and family, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who have experienced the fury of nature, as well as our friends in Barbados and Grenada, as their homes and livelihoods too have been further negatively impacted by the eruptions of the La Soufrière volcano. We continue to offer our prayers and best wishes to them at this time. As we mark this double celebration, I continue to urge and encourage everyone viewing this program, as well as those who labor in the proverbial vineyard of the environment, to make the commitment to reduce our carbon footprint, to reduce, reuse, and recycle, and to preserve our natural environment. On behalf of the Ministry of Planning and Development, I congratulate all awardees present this evening, and I encourage the EMA and its stakeholders to redouble their efforts to achieve the commitments of the Sustainable Development Goals on or before 2030. I also remind you that for the Ministry of Planning and Development, our slogan is "Environmental pride is national pride." I thank you, and may God continue to bless us all.
Thank you to the Honorable Camille Robinson Regis, Minister of Planning and Development. Nominees in the 2020 Greenleaf Awards special category were evaluated by the adjudicators. The steering committee selected 4 awardees in the special category. The first special award goes to Susan Lacan-Batiste of Nature Seekers.
Susan Lacan-Batiste's contribution to conservation in Trinidad and Tobago extends over 3 decades. In 1990, Susan and other community members worked to reduce poaching and slaughter of leatherback turtles on the Matura Beach through the approach of converting poachers to conservationists and champions for sea turtle protection. Susan was instrumental in the formation of the NGO Nature Seekers, where she has contributed initially as a member, but rose to leadership roles as managing director and chairman. Nature Seekers' efforts in sea turtle protection led to Matura Beach being designated a protected area during the turtle nesting season from March to August. In 1997, resources were sourced to begin the first ever sea turtle tagging program in Trinidad and Tobago. This method of tagging allowed for the identification of individual turtles and supported the collection of additional information. Susan's work went beyond the reach of turtle conservation, having led a team of community members to restore over 500 acres of denuded lands in northeast Trinidad through the National Reforestation and Watershed Rehabilitation Program. Susan has served as a board director of the Turtle Village Trust and the Ministry of Tourism, as well as the vice chair of the National Sea Turtle Task Force. She has been instrumental in promoting the Nature Seekers model of using natural resources as a tool for conservation through ecotourism and co-management. Susan has presented the work of Nature Seekers to groups around the world and has been recognized internationally.
And receiving the special award on her behalf is Mariam Mitchell. Congratulations, Susan Lacan-Batiste. Ladies and gentlemen, the EMA's second Greenleaf Special Award goes to Detta Butch.
Rosemary Bernadette Detta Butch grew up in Kenya, where she developed an innate love for wildlife that she naturally transposed to our twin islands. Detta, as she's known, has dedicated over 30 years to wildlife conservation and rehabilitation in Trinidad and Tobago. Her wildlife rehabilitation began with the fostering of an abandoned monkey in 1986. She continued her wildlife rescue and rehabilitation informally until 2001, when she formalized her efforts by establishing the Wildlife Orphanage and Rehabilitation Center, WORK, a non-profit wildlife conservation organization that relies on volunteers and donations to fund its work. Detta, through WORK, has built awareness of and promoted and encouraged the need for sustainability of our local wildlife through her provision of medical care, recuperation and rehabilitation, facilities to sick, injured, orphaned and dislocated wild animals. Her release of countless rehabilitated animals to their natural habitats has contributed to the health and continuity of these species and our biodiversity. Detta's work has also generated valuable biological, behavioral and clinical data, which is currently in the process of being digitized. Through her wealth of experience, Detta has and continues to serve as a mentor to many other wildlife rescuers and rehabilitators. Detta has served as president of the Council of Presidents of the Environment and has contributed as COPE's representative on various committees.
Congratulations to Detta Butch. Our third 2020 Greenleaf Special Awardee is Gary Aboud, Corporate Secretary of Fishermen and Friends of the Sea.
Gary Aboud has been involved in environmental activism for over 30 years. He is well known as a founding member and the Corporate Secretary of Fishermen and Friends of the Sea and a founding member of the Trinidad United Fisherfolk. Gary Aboud has been the civil society representative on the Trinidad and Tobago Extractive Industries Transparency Institute for the past 8 years. As a founding partner of the EU CSOs for Good Governance project, he has contributed to the training of fenceline communities in proper civil society management structure, environmental law, and communication. Through his willingness to engage in litigation to defend the principles of sound environmental management and preservation of human and natural environments, Gary Aboud has significantly developed the Caribbean's environmental law jurisprudence. His passion for sustainable development extends beyond his capacity as a prominent member of civil society, and in his capacity as a business owner, he has provided rent-free, prime commercial space to artisans and entrepreneurs engaged in safe and sustainable small-scale manufacturing enterprises, allowing them to ply their trade.
Congratulations to Gary Aboud. And our final 2020 Greenleaf Special Awardee is Patricia Turpin of Environment Tobago.
Patricia Turpin has dedicated over 40 years of her life to environmental issues nationally. She and her family manage over 1,000 acres of estate in Charlottesville, Tobago, using integrated forestry principles. Over the years, Pat has fostered science tourism by facilitating and assisting visiting researchers to Tobago, providing them with access to the unique ecosystems of Northeast Tobago. This includes a long-standing relationship with the Smithsonian Institute, Cardiff University, and Glasgow University. She has also facilitated the University of the West Indies' National Herbarium in their documentation of Tobago's ferns. In 1996, Patricia Turpin became one of the founding directors of the NGO Environment Tobago, later leading as president for several terms. Under her leadership and guidance, Environment Tobago became the voice for Tobago's environment, participating in policy development, environmental consultation, and steering committees. Through Environment Tobago, Patricia Turpin implemented several projects that were funded by international organizations. Her indomitable environmental stance and vast knowledge of Tobago's biodiversity and ecosystems have allowed her to inject the Tobago perspective into discussions that might have otherwise overlooked the island.
And we say congratulations to Patricia Turpin. Ladies and gentlemen, for the 2020 Greenleaf Awards, a total of 30 submissions were received in 7 of the 10 categories. And we will now present the Greenleaf Award. This award is presented to those who, through their work, has made an outstanding contribution to responsible environmental management and sustainable development in Trinidad and Tobago. Here are the 4 winners of the EMA's 2020 Greenleaf Award. We begin with Caribbean Bottlers Trinidad and Tobago Limited.
Caribbean Bottlers TNT Limited recognizes the importance of water efficiency, wastewater treatment, and community service in our operations with regards to sustainable use for business and community longevity. As such, we have focused our environmental stewardship efforts on areas where we have the greatest impact. For example, over the past 10 years, we have improved water efficiency in our manufacturing operations through the use of key water minimization strategies. We have made significant investments in new technologies and operational procedures that replace or reduce water use in our operations. Other projects that have been implemented through joint efforts over the years are collaboration with local communities and NEHIST to address water shortage concerns in rural communities via the implementation of rainwater harvesting systems, as we did in Kumana and Plumitan. Additionally, we have promoted environmental conservation awareness among our youth through education awareness programs and voluntary beach cleanup activities via collaborations with CNIRD and MEEP-TT. We have also been a member of the National Planning Committee and main sponsor to the annual ICC beach and river cleanup activities held in TNT for the past 10 years. In collaboration with the Adopt a River program, we have implemented the 100 Bins Against Plastic Pollution project in various schools and community centers. We plan to continue to identify other potential projects and to further collaborate to ensure sustainable development in local communities for years to come.
Receiving the Greenleaf Award on behalf of Caribbean Bottlers Trinidad and Tobago Limited is Kayleigh Taylor. Congratulations.
The second winner of the EMA's 2020 Greenleaf Award is Plant Microbiotechnology Group.
Our team at UV, Department of Life Sciences, have been working on different projects to improve the vegetable production in the Caribbean and in Trinidad and Tobago.
Our current studies utilizing this new sargassum formula have even showed that when farmers apply this product to their plants, there is no toxic effects to beneficial organisms on the crop.
So among the biological inputs, we have used seaweed extracts and biological agents and safer fungicides and pesticides.
We were able to apply the latest technology in developing our environmentally friendly product.
By our projects, we have developed technologies which minimize the use of chemicals and maximizing the use of biological inputs.
We found this sargassum on the beach and then we turned it into something useful, something sustainable not only to humans but to the environment as well.
We were also able to show that our seaweed extract had a beneficial effect on stimulating microorganisms present in the soil and on the roots and in the plant, and hence there might be also a beneficial, indirect beneficial effect by the microorganisms on the plant growth processes.
We have seen over 50% increase in most of our field trials that we did using this new seaweed formula.
These vegetables as well as the crop produce are relatively safer than what has been produced hitherto in the farmers' fields.
This is the entire team from Plant Microbe Biotechnology Group. And receiving the Greenleaf Award on behalf of Plant Microbe Biotechnology Group is Dr. Jayaraj Jayaraman.
The third winner of the EMA's 2020 Greenleaf Award is I Am Movement.
I Am Movement began its work of driving climate action in TNT in 2014 and 2015 with the hosting of the People's Climate Marches during key UN summits in New York and Paris. Since then, our education and advocacy work has expanded with the production of various short films and videos, including the documentary Small Change, the Rethinking Energy video series, and short films capturing community-based projects we've undertaken in Paramin and Sandy Grande for the rehabilitation of quarries.
Using this uniquely developed educational media, we've hosted over 100 interactive climate talk sessions to date in schools, organizations, public spaces, and recently online. We've also helped drive strong climate engagement and awareness through our social media platforms, public competitions, and an online Rethinking Energy learning portal launched in 2019.
Alongside the important focus we've placed on education and advocacy, we've also helped to introduce vetiver grass to communities as a unique, green and cost-effective tool to protect against land slippage, erosion, and infrastructure or property damage.
And we've supported trainings on its use to produce a beautiful range of handcrafted, carbon-negative handicraft products which we help take to market. To date, we've undertaken this work in Paramin, Sandy Grande, Moruga, Santa Cruz and Icacos, and are excited with new developments now allowing us to expand nationally across TNT.
We have recognized Sustainable Development Goal 17, Partnership for the Goals, as critical to driving climate action here in TNT. And everything I Am Movement has done to date has been only possible through the support of many joining together for the common cause.
Receiving the Greenleaf Award on behalf of I Am Movement is Jonathan Barker. Congratulations.
And the fourth winner of the EMA's 2020 Greenleaf Award is Asa Wright Nature Center.
I joined Asa Wright Nature Center in 2010 and worked as a conservation officer for about 10 years. Asa Wright is a not-for-profit trust that was established in 1967. Its mission is to protect a part of the Arima Valley in its natural state and to create a conservation and study area for the protection of wildlife and for the enjoyment of all. And because of its mission, our work and our project is centered around ecotourism, conservation, and education. The main goals are to protect the natural area, which is the estate, to encourage scientific studies of the plants and animals there, to educate persons on the value of the flora and fauna of Trinidad and Tobago, and to promote their preservation. The center is a nature reserve and is home to approximately 173 species of birds, including 14 species of hummingbirds. Many persons, including school students, have visited the center where they went on guided tours to learn about the ecology of the Arima Valley. COVID-19 has posed challenges to the operations of the center. However, the center hopes to continue its conservation and education work. It would look for innovative ways to continue an education program and will explore opportunities to expand its work and collaborate with other organizations.
Receiving the Greenleaf Award on behalf of Asa Wright Nature Center is Marina Narain Singh.
There we have it, the top achievers of the EMA's 2020 Greenleaf Awards. Now we have one final announcement for you, and that is to acknowledge the People's Choice from amongst our Merit Awardees and Greenleaf Awardees. And based on the number of views and likes on our awardees' videos on social media, The People's Choice recognition goes to...
The People's Choice Award goes to the Cashew Gardens Community Council.
Ladies and gentlemen, this evening's ceremony has been a culmination of tremendous dedication and steadfast commitment from each of our awardees honored here this evening. We salute you. On behalf of our production team, event organizers, everyone at the EMA, thank you for viewing. Good night.